stop my share, so maybe maybe it'll help now.
Can you try again?
Yep, I will try again. Yeah.
Are you getting the pop-up, Brittany? I'm not.
No, I'm not getting a pop-up. Oh, there we are.
There it is. Oh, there. Yeah, there it is.
You're seeing, you're probably seeing my Zoom, aren't you?
No, we actually see the County of Berks, Pennsylvania. Looks good.
Okay, are you seeing Reading-Berks Association of Realtors?
We are good.
Perfect, perfect. So it's really a pleasure to be talking to this group. I find the interaction with the realtors and with the association to always have been of a high level of professionalism and support for the work that's been done in economic development throughout Berks County for all of the years that I've been involved with this. And at this point, I've been back home to Berks County about 16 years now. So one of the things that I'll talk about this morning is why Berks County and why now. Berks County has great people willing to work. They're willing to grow their careers here. We have accessible and flexible training programs. That's something that's absolutely being sought after by site selectors and companies who are considering Berks. Our real estate locations offer accessibility and connectivity to the entire East Coast and Mid-Atlantic region. So we've definitely become a location of choice on the East Coast. And that's not something that we could always say. We were considered to be a second tier market for quite some time, and that has dramatically changed over the past probably 5 years. So I want to just talk a little bit about 2020. I've called it boom and bust. Because I think some of what I have to say, you might not find surprising, because I suspect if you're on the residential side, you are quite busy, but the same is true as well on the commercial and industrial side. So I think we can all agree that Berks County's economy is quite diverse, and it absolutely is one of our greatest strengths in providing a solid foundation in 2020. The diversity allows us to weather the pandemic more so than many other communities that are heavily reliant on one type of industry. My colleagues in the Pocono region are experiencing much more significant negative effects due to the pandemic. They're heavily reliant on the tourism industry, and what they've seen in the past few months has been unemployment that has reached as high as 20%. So I'm here to tell you that the outside world is continuing to kick Berks County's tires. The most recent space requests coming to Berks County, and this is in the past 3 months, I took a sampling, have ranged from requests from 5,000 square feet up to 1 million square feet, and acreage requests ranging from 15 acres up to 100 acres. And this is not just all logistics. We are seeing requests for advanced manufacturing, assembly, processing, and we did have a pharma R&D and product facility considering Berks County. And that's not something that we always saw come to Berks. We've always been known in biotech industry for our medical device manufacturing industry. We have a high location quotient. This was one of the first times that we've actually seen pharma come out of that metro Philadelphia area and consider Berks County on a very serious basis. So a lot of the inquiries that we're seeing are international. Though they are unable to visit right now due to travel restrictions, we're finding ways around that. We're doing virtual building tours and videos. And importantly, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're no longer considered to be a second tier market for the purposes of real estate investment. So other than location, what is it that companies are looking for when they consider Berks? So I've said a lot of everything and not just one thing. So real estate, as we know, usually location trumps everything else, but it's now just become part of a much deeper list under consideration. And it's not just about incentives. So though companies will always ask, they rarely make their business location decisions solely based off of incentives. I do want to say with that said, we did recently implement a new incentive that's available in Berks County. So thanks to the leadership team of the County Planning Commission and the county commissioners, we passed a resolution authorizing the use of the CPACE program, and that's the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. And that's a program that allows commercial private property building owners to obtain lower cost and long-term financing from either equity sources, banks, lenders to perform energy efficiency, conservation, and renewable energy projects. That's of particular note, especially when you're rehabilitating older buildings, though it can be used for new construction, it can be used for commercial, ag, industrial projects, and even nonprofits. So that's something that we'll be talking about more, making sure that we get that information sheet to you. Companies are still looking for land, but remember something I've said for many years, dirt is not a site, and buildings, they're looking for buildings that don't need extensive structural changes. So a lot of prospects come into the market saying, we'd like to find an existing building that is ideal. They find that their existing ideal building doesn't exist. And if they can't retrofit one, they are willing to look at a site, but typically a site that has been through or is well along the way through the land development approval process. Because as we know, the costs that come along with that add risk to a project. So I would say ready to go and ready to be occupied really address those two concerns, which is that time equals money, and of course risk equals money as well. We're continuing to add to our industrial inventory. That's not a surprise to any of you who are part of this meeting. And in the past 2 years, we've really seen significant new construction. In 2019 and 2020, our industrial inventory, which is over 100,000 square feet, increased by over 3.5 million square feet. And if you add in the 2.9 million square feet from 2018, we've seen over 6.5 million square feet. And actually, I realized that I had not even added in some of the new construction that's underway now, including North Point development, which along 78, which is part of Berks Park 78, is another 1 million square feet. Berks Park 183, as we know, which is being developed by the Industrial Development Authority, is well underway with installing infrastructure. Asphalt Packaging actually just moved into a newly constructed facility in Perry Township, which is part of the Hamburg Commerce Park. And then Carbon Light has moved into their facility in Muhlenberg Township, and that was another 270,000 square feet. So these are really significant numbers and additions to square footage on our industrial and distributions front. Those numbers also don't include the commercial rehabilitations that are underway in the city, including 35 North 6th Street, Madison, the Berkshire Building, the Medical Arts Building, the Ready Eagle Building under contemplated for redevelopment, all of which are adding to that renaissance of downtown Reading, and certainly will then provide an additional selling feature for all of Berks County. We know that having a strong urban core is an absolute selling point for the county. So earlier this year, when we had shelter-in-place mandates and we're not sure what to expect, obviously, in the next few weeks, it caused an incredible acceleration as we adopted e-commerce. So most importantly, it wasn't just existing e-commerce customers expanding, but it was brand new e-commerce customers as well. So a lot of warehouse occupiers made a shift to increase inventory of their existing inventory because of the demand. They're also trying to mitigate supply chain disruption. So we saw some expansion there. Some of that increased occupancy was offset by some of the brick and mortar retailers who decided to downsize some of their operations or go out of business. But I would say that's all being reworked right now. But certainly in terms of occupancy and demand and the leasing prices that we're seeing for industrial, it really has not been negatively impacted. That has all been on the upswing. So as we're going through all of this in industrial boom, what's been happening on our main streets? And, you know, for the most part, I would say that our logistics industry has really successfully navigated the past few months of uncertainty. So without being tone deaf, though, to the businesses that are struggling, especially when it was the big box retail that was able to stay open and our smaller boutique or retail stores or service industry were impacted and were closed, it would say, it's probably an understatement to say that they were negatively impacted. Though a variety of programs were available, one of the things that I put up here is that it becomes an absolute alphabet soup for our small businesses to try and navigate all of the resources that have been available to them. And the ones that I have listed here is even just a sampling of the millions and millions of dollars that have gone out. And then I will tell you that it's still not enough. We recently had just announced our New Start grant program, and those came directly from the CARES dollars. So those are 480 grants going to small businesses in our community. So it's about $11.5 million, which is just one of the programs, but it doesn't allow them to replace all of their lost revenue. So I think we're really fortunate in the ones that are coming through this because it's very difficult to navigate. So utilizing business support organizations like the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance to help navigate that alphabet soup becomes really important. You'll hear me talk a little bit more about that collaboration as we move forward. So one of the things that we also did, I have Rebuild-Berks up here, and that was a campaign that was administered through, again, the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance, and it included a branding plan for Rebuild-Berks because we wanted to start to rebuild that consumer and business confidence in our local marketplace. But it also included free training for our businesses to support them during this time. So if you have not checked out any of the GRCA free trainings, please do so. That continues through the end of this year. I think they'll do a few free sessions as well going into 2021, but definitely take advantage of their portfolio training sessions that they're offering right now in order to really support businesses needing that type of training and development during these past few months. They're also offering a lot of the training sessions in Spanish as well, which is something that I know was important for the county commissioners to be supporting. So again, please check that out if you're able to. The county also used general fund dollars to support those Main Street organizations that are working in our boroughs. So Hamburg, Kutztown, Boyertown, West Reading. It was important to the commissioners to be able to support their work taking place on the main streets. So not just the core work that's happening within the city of Reading, but definitely getting to those boroughs because we want those organizations to be viable and to be supporting our local businesses on main streets throughout the rest of 2020 and certainly into 2021. So to try and keep those organizations as viable as possible. We also used some of our federal dollars at the county to support nonprofits, libraries, schools, and virtual learning, emergency medical services, healthcare providers, obviously some of whom are tenants in buildings that you represent or own buildings that you may be representing. So we thought it was really important to try and keep, again, as many organizations and businesses as viable as possible. So just to talk a little bit about 2021, different is different. There's no new normal. I don't want to use the word unprecedented, which is one of the most overused words so far in 2020. We're just saying things are going to be different. So some of the things that we're looking at in 2021, that message of sustainability is something that brings a unique value proposition to Berks County. So we know that we're a great place to live, work, learn, and play, a message that all communities promote. So that's not unique to Berks County. So we need to talk about what's unique, what sets us apart. And there was some significant groundwork done a few years ago on this topic by Berks Nature. And they highlighted some sustainable business practices of our existing companies. And the message is important. We want to build on that. And again, it gives us a unique value proposition as we expand that messaging. So unique value proposition for Berks. Entrepreneurship, I would say, continues to be alive and well. Yesterday, I actually heard from Our Town Foundation, which works in downtown Hamburg, that since the spring, there were 6 new businesses that opened up in downtown Hamburg that is part of their main street. So it doesn't mean that businesses haven't struggled, because many businesses have struggled, but there's also been opportunity for entrepreneurs, and not just on main streets. Berks Launchbox, and if you're not familiar with that, located at the Goggle Works, I definitely think that you need to check that out. They are seeing exponential increases in the numbers of entrepreneurs that they are serving with new ideas and requests for support. So they are receiving both virtual and in-person support down at the Goggle Works. So again, if you haven't checked out the Berks Launchbox, it's an incredible support system in place for entrepreneurs in Berks County, and especially as an anchor in our downtown Reading. You know, I put 5G on here. What I thought was really interesting is that this is something that we're going to start talking about within our boroughs and rurals area. So I'm saying it's not just a commercial for cell phone users. People and businesses will want to go where 5G is available, and that's going to become a talking point for site selection. I thought it was interesting that a national study showed, and this is probably not news to you, that 75% of prospective home buyers said that good cellular connection was important to them, and 83% of millennials said cell service was a most important factor in buying a home. So this is not going away anytime soon, probably no great surprise. But for as connected as we are and we want to be to the outside world, we must be thoughtful, proactive, and committed to buying local, shopping local, connecting local, and doing everything local. And that's why Rebuild Berks is such an important campaign when it was coordinated by GRCA. And again, we started all of this to rebuild both consumer and business confidence. So if you have not checked out the Rebuild Berks campaign on social media, I really encourage you to do that. It's really well done. I think we're going to need to continue to instill consumer confidence as we approach the next few months, which could be challenging. And I think that its purpose really is as important as it ever was when the campaign was first launched. I would also say that collaboration is a very important theme that you're going to see throughout 2021. Our economic prosperity in Berks County happens because we all work together. We're going to be looking to foster collaborative, cooperative, inclusive, public-private partnerships. And that's not just between county government, but our municipalities, our businesses, and our business support organizations. And this is all going to be as we move forward to what we're currently calling the Berks 2030 plan. So what's next? You know, a plan. Planners love to plan. I'm a planner. So this process will really embody that high level of collaboration that I'm talking about as we start to set forward a vision for Berks County. And again, the name speaks for itself through the next at least 5 to 10 years as we're thinking about what we want to look like as a community. So that really segues into, yes, this housing thing really is connected not only to our economic present, but also to our economic future. And it means a lot to our economic future. So housing in Berks County, I have a question. Is it a crisis or is it just a great market? And that probably is a wonderful segue to my colleague, David Hunter.
I just want to say that.
And thank you so much. And such a great question. First, I want to acknowledge and thank our bar for the opportunity to share with you all this afternoon, this morning rather. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of Berks County. And, you know, the sky's the limit. I'm a glass half full guy. Friendly amendment on my bio. I'm a Philly guy. All right. So Eagles all the way. Yes, tough sledding, but Eagles all the way. And then, yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Just saying.
Yeah. Hey, I'll root for Pittsburgh as long as they're not playing Philly.
All right.
How about that? How about that? I wanted to share before I get into on my PowerPoint, and as you all know, virtual meetings are the norm, and sharing your screen during a virtual meeting is an art and a science. Pam obviously has mastered that science. I have not, and so I am going to ask John to work my slides. But I remember fondly, I do remember when I first met John at a meeting at our bar, and he brought it up the other day. Brittany mentioned the meeting. I had a great time at the meeting. I brought the staff from the city over and we met with folks at our bar. It was a lively discussion. I'll just leave it at that. But you know, my motto is make friends. And I've certainly made a friend in John and Brittany and all of our bars, several of you. I'll get in trouble if I start naming names, but I appreciate the support that we have in working with our bar, and we've got other partners, of course, the Center for Excellence in Local Government, the Chamber, so many partners that we have, and of course the Main Street programs, getting to know those coordinators as well. So I really have a very enviable position here at the County Planning Office, because part of what we are moving forward under the umbrella of smart growth is a discussion on housing. I'll just put in a quick plug for the Smart Growth Alliance. If you are not aware, the Smart Growth Alliance was convened some time ago, about 2004. My predecessor, Glenn Knobloch, and others formed this group. And I'd just like to read what the purpose of the Smart Growth Alliance is. And it's basically to promote smart growth principles through education and outreach. And so sharing knowledge and information is a large component of the Smart Growth Alliance. So we endeavor to share and provide expertise to the development community. And part of what the Smart Growth Alliance has focused on is to discuss housing. Housing and economic development are close cousins. Kind of like I have a cousin that's like a sister to me. So they're very close and they go hand in hand. And we're talking about business retention and business attraction. Pam is expert in those areas. We also need to discuss where the employees of those new entities are going to live. I think that's a worthy discussion. And so I want to take two tracks. I want to talk about housing opportunities in the county. John, if you would begin sharing my slide presentation. I think it's important to look at median income, all right? We have to look at buying power. And as you can see, and this, please don't beat me up too bad on these numbers because I just pulled this off a HUD site. These are 2020 numbers according to HUD. So we'll just go with it, right? My comp plan has 2015 numbers. I wanted something a little more up to date. So according to HUD, and this report that is cited, so you can fact check me, Berks County's median area income is $78,600. I wonder if anyone knows off the top of their head, right? Any trivia buffs know what the median income is nationally. The national median income. If we had time, we'd do a poll, but suffice it to say that the national median income is $78,500. Interesting, isn't it? National median income is $78,500. The median area income for Berks County is $78,600. Very interesting. If you look at our neighboring counties, you can see the numbers. And it's interesting that some of them are very too close, but again, they are what they are. Bucks County, Chester, Delaware, all coming up at the high 90s. Lancaster County and Lehigh County, high 80s. And then Montgomery and Philly back up into high 90s. And so when we look at Berks County buying power, how much does $78,600 afford you? What can you afford to buy? Median, again, this is median. So half the folks are making less than $78,600. And so where are they going to live? And for those moving into the area, that also is a question. So I think it's important to look at income and buying power. And it's important to look at what types of housing are we building in Berks County? What have we built over the last 10 years? I'm so proud of my staff and they are just lockstep with me. And so we've put together a couple of maps I want to share with you on the types of multifamily housing that have been built in the last 10 years. The next slide shows, as you can see when it comes up, we have multifamily. We do. Yes, promise, told you. Apartments. Apartment units built in Berks County from 2010 to 2020. I don't think the number isn't important to me, even though it is, as the location. As Pam said, right? Location, location, location. That is applicable for housing as well. Obviously, Reading stands out as the leader in the construction of multifamily apartment units, but look at across the northern tier of Berks County. Obviously, that's the 78 corridor. Obviously, that is where many of our warehouse and distribution centers have been built and are being built as we speak. And so it makes sense, right? It makes sense that those who are not making more than the median are living in apartment units, and these apartment units have been built along 78, and then you can go south from Hamburg, right? Go south from Hamburg, and that's the 61 corridor, and you're right down at Reading, and then you go south, southeast rather. So I think this is telling, and I believe that because of economies of scale, right? All of us, I'm sure, took at least one planning class, right? At least one, right? And everyone remembers economies of scale. And so just real quick, remember the two ice cream men on the beach, right? Remember that? They locate 100 yards apart, 200 yards apart. They find that they will make most money, they will benefit as they are located next to each other. Right? Two different ice cream salesmen, and economies of scale says they need to locate next to each other. And so economies of scale says, where is additional apartment unit construction going to be? Obviously, it will probably be in the municipalities that already have apartment units. Obviously, Ole Valley, beautiful out there. I love going driving out there. I love walking on their track, by the way. Nice new track at Ole High School. No apartments in Albany, no apartments in Greenwich, no apartments there because they're rural and rightfully they want to stay that way. But there are municipalities that have opened the door and have grown in the number of apartment units built. And so again, the numbers, not that high, not that impressive, but it is what it is. The next type of unit we want to look at, I believe, is semi-detached on the next slide. And so you look at this picture and it is, again, startling. Semi-detached units built in Berks County from 2010 to 2020. Again, we have the middle, Reading is high, Muhlenberg is higher. Interestingly enough, that northern tier of apartments along I-70 has disappeared when it comes to semi-detached. Semi-detached are in Windsor, we've got some in Tulpehocken, and again, south of Reading, but this unit type has not been either not very popular or has not been built. And again, that's what we're looking at. Finally, the last type of housing you want to talk about are the townhouses. And so again, you're looking at a concentration, if you will, around Reading, some up that 61 corridor, south of Tilden, you've got Windsor, and incidentally enough, and I'm learning my municipalities, you've got Washington Township, yes, that has seen townhouse development in the last 10 years. And so part of what my staff's job is to provide information and to educate, and is to, as Pam said so well, we are collaborators. That is our job, is to bring people to the table for discussion and hopefully for action. I got a phone call the other morning, and I can share the phone call, but not the particulars. I got a call from someone who was participating on the Smart Growth Alliance call, and they called to thank me for the open door, if you will, because through the Smart Growth Alliance, this person met someone else they hadn't met. And good things are going to come out of that meeting. Good things are going to come out of that combination of those two professionals. And so that's very encouraging to me. The number of units being built, as you can see, semi-detached, you've got apartments, you've got townhouses. Look at the difference in where they're being constructed. And that's what we want to share with you today. Back to the median income, again, everyone, I believe, remembers the movie The Big Short. If you're a planner, that's mandatory viewing. The Big Short was about the housing bubble and just a fascinating analysis of how bankers unfortunately participated in predatory lending, remember? And so it wasn't the realtors. It wasn't the realtors. Got it? It was the bankers. We want to just make sure we're clear on that. Realtors, you guys were clean. The bankers were loaning to folks who couldn't afford a McMansion. I mean, literally could not afford it. And then they had the balloon loan. Someone knows this more than I. But it's interesting that, you know, we were taught in school that you should only pay a quarter to a third of your income on your housing. And so if, again, we're at 76,000 for a median, then the buying power is limited, or it's more limited than in any other regional jurisdiction. So I think that's part of the discussion, and that's what we want to talk about. That's an attraction question. That's a question for Pam and I to kind of wrestle with, you know, who is coming in to the county and what are they paying, right? And what can those employees afford when they take those jobs? So it's all part of the discussion. I want to go on to talk about the boroughs. I've met with Borough Main Street managers and have enjoyed the conversations with them. And so what staff did was we put together an inventory of vacant properties in the borough. So we can go to the next PowerPoint, John. If we want to encourage smart growth, which would be to encourage development in denser areas. So our boroughs are the denser areas, obviously. And so if you look at Boyertown, for instance, these are that are vacant in the borough of Boyertown. And it's not including properties that are dilapidated or should be raised. These are clearly vacant. And I think there are more properties than these that could be redeveloped. And so the question is, how do we encourage developers to build smartly? How do we encourage builders not to do greenfield development, but infill development in our boroughs? So just look at that picture. It's interesting. You can take a trip down to Boyertown, which my staff will. We're going to go down in the spring and visit with the Main Street coordinator and just walk Main Street and look at what properties are available for development. A couple more boroughs we want to share with you. We've got, obviously, Boyertown is here, and then we've got, what else do we have? Next is, that would be the cue for the next slide. There we go, Hamburg. Hamburg is a cute little borough. I enjoyed being a tour with Dina, who's the Main Street coordinator, and you can see the vacant properties in Hamburg. Significant number of vacant properties. Again, they're properties that are built upon that could be redeveloped because some of those properties may not be able to be rehabilitated. So again, infill development in the boroughs is something we want to encourage. Finally, we've got a couple other boroughs. We've got Kutztown. I'll just say my good friend, Amanda Raudenbush is on council there, and she is absolutely encouraging development there. And of course, we have West Reading, and Mark Ratcliffe is the Main Street coordinator there. West Reading has a new downtown plan. We're going to be asking Mark to share that plan if you're not familiar with it at a coming Smart Growth meeting. And so to conclude, I think what Smart Growth Alliance can do, what Pam and I are going to encourage, is to continue the dialogue, to continue to host forums where we can discuss what can we do together. County government is one player in this. Economic development is one piece. Housing is another piece. But we have to work together with the city And certainly we're thankful for our collaboration with the folks, our friends there in the city, Jamal and all the staff there. Look forward to working with them more on their Downtown Plus plan. The Downtown Plus plan will absolutely include housing, the need for housing, the location of housing. Pam has mentioned already those projects that are underway that are going to provide housing in downtown Reading. And so that's very, very exciting. We need more housing in the core, in the boroughs where there's already density, and we want to steer and encourage the preservation of those agricultural assets that we want to preserve. I mean, I love taking Sunday drives, right? I don't know if you guys do, but I just love it. But I can take a Sunday drive every day of the week. And, you know, Berks is a big county, right? Big county. I thought I could just drive around and, you know, get back home in no time. Went out to Wernersville, then up 419, all the way up to Mountain Road and all the way across Mountain Road and all the way down, I think it's 743. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful drive, and we want to preserve our agricultural assets, but certainly development is coming. Development should be encouraged, but smartly. We want to encourage development of housing where it's appropriate. So thank you for the time. Again, appreciate the open door, Brittany and John. Thank you all. And Pam and I will certainly answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, I'm going to say at this time, everyone on the call, if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat function or unmute yourself or raise your hand and we will unmute you if you have any particular questions for David or Pam. I'm just going to, elaborate too that, we have been in discussion. I know our Government Affairs Committee has been very active in terms of trying to bring builders together, reaching out to different municipalities to figure out which municipalities are open and eager to do more development, and figuring out what is, kind of slowing the process down, whether it's, building costs or is it, zoning and saldo. So we are kind of trying to bring everyone to the table, and David's been awesome to work with so far. But we're in the early phases, and if you'd like to be a part of that, feel free to sit in on any Government Affairs Committee meetings next year. And reach out to John. Okay, so that's David. Are there any questions particularly from anybody?
Brittany, if I may, I did omit to add that, again, you guys have been great, and John has been, I'm not sure if he volunteered or he was told, but one of those. John is looking forward to working with us on the issue of housing, and we're going to continue to have smart growth discussions on housing. And so if you are interested, please reach out to me. We have a Smart Growth Alliance meeting on the 16th of December. That's Wednesday, the 16th at 2 p.m. I'll send out an invitation to those who would like it. And John and I are going to be looking forward to working and discussing housing further.
There was a quick question posed in the chat. Do you see any mixed use development gaining popularity in any of the more populous sectors or in place of the Berkshire Mall? This has definitely been a topic of interest to our bar's commercial and industrial council. I know we've been looking into setting up some meetings next year with the new owners of the Berkshire Mall, but yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on mixed use and what's taking place with the Berkshire Mall.
I'll let probably Pam take it. I would love, we as planners love mixed use, and it's the wave of the future. It's been the wave. I come from Arlington, and so mixed use is the watchword. If it's not mixed use, Arlington doesn't want it. So in the corridor along the principal arteries, you have ground floor retail. It's required. And then you have residential, and you might have a hotel, or you might have another use, but mixed use is the watchword. And so it would be wonderful if we could lure a developer into the county to do something wonderful. There are plenty of examples of mixed use developments in and around malls, and the redo of malls that are dying on the vine. And so I think it's a matter of beating it down the bush, of dialoguing and talking with friends up and down 422 in Philly. Pam, I think we just have to keep discussing the options.
I think also that we have to be aware that many of our existing zoning ordinances, you know, we love that mixed use concept, and then pen to paper on zoning ordinances, you find that it either doesn't allow it or certainly doesn't, you know, have the dimensional or requirements in there that would allow it to move forward. So that's something that I think we definitely could use some education in our municipalities to make sure that they can accommodate for mixed use, whether it's through an overlay zone or from just establishing a new zoning district. We just have to be very conscious of that, because as you know, developers are going to take a look at that and say, wow, I don't want to go through a rezoning, but if it's already ready for me to develop that type of use, there would be much more likely to consider it.
Yeah, Pam, we'll definitely reach out to you. I know John's been working on CIC meeting ideas and speakers for next year, so we'll definitely keep you in the loop and consideration for, you know, more discussions on that project for sure. We do have another question from Merlin Weaver. Do you foresee the boroughs
I think it's our boroughs. Do you foresee our boroughs?
adopting form-based code?
It's a matter of education. I think Pam hit the nail on the head. The boroughs should understand that there are innovative zoning mechanisms, zoning opportunities, and you know, the cookie cutter ordinance is just a thing of the past. We have to be innovative to attract, and if municipalities are willing, as Pam said, just to jump out and go ahead and change their ordinance and to invite developers to come and then advertise that, get the word out. Form-based code is one option, and there are many types of form-based code. There's you know, it's just a matter of educating our municipalities and the elected and appointed officials to say this is a good thing. I'll just I can pick on the city since I work there. The ordinance is old. That's all I'll say. It's old. And there are many municipalities have old ordinance in dire need of update or revamp. And from experience, I know that elected officials are leery to literally embark upon a years-long effort to update an ordinance, but it's absolutely worth it. When I started in Arlington in 2011, the then county chairman of the chairman of the Arlington County Board didn't want to take the time to update the ordinance. Just didn't want to take time. It's going to take too long. And of course, the staff planner, you're banging your head on the wall. It's like, it's going to take, anything worth doing is worth taking time to do. And so 7 years after I got there, finally, we redid the ordinance. And if we had started when we encouraged the elected officials to start, it would have been done. But there was feet dragging and a lack of understanding. So I think it's a matter of educating the local appointed and elected officials that it's worth doing, and getting started now is better than waiting until 5 years go by, and then you've got 5 years more of a dead ordinance.
Yeah. So President-elect Erica Remus actually made a comment. Austin, Texas has some great examples areas. John Rochert is a realtor, but he also was appointed to sit on NAR's, the National Association of Realtors, Smart Growth, like advisory group or committee or what have you. And we actually had him come out to do a few speaking sessions in State College and in Somerset County in Pennsylvania. And those were really great opportunities. We actually had an NAR grant to do that. So to just kind of factor in the subsequent question from Jason Burkholder, Jason Burkholder asks, you know, what as realtors, what can we do to help foster the atmosphere needed needed for smart growth. He mentions, you know, a lot of the resistance is from municipal officials and regulations that don't really foster that environment for taking advantage of smart growth or mixed use. Personally, to me, I think, you know, what David and Pam has said has been very practical here. As realtors, I think it's super important for us to reach out to the municipal officials, and that's why our government affairs committee here functions so well the way it does. We do have the ability to reach out to our municipal officials and speak as one voice. As one association, we're over 1,200 members. That's a lot of people in Berks County. And I think, you know, if we're all kind of on the same page and really rallying and, you know, cheerleaders for that type of development, hopefully that can kind of inspire some change and maybe, you know, change some minds moving forward to help better the county. But I'm very glad that you guys could take the time out of your schedules today to come meet with us and kind of talk about all of this. I know this was a little bit longer of what we thought we wanted to go, but we could really talk about this all day. So I just want to thank you guys, you know, and please feel free to contact our association again if ever we can be of assistance in any of this these initiatives moving forward.
Absolutely. Brittany, again, thank you all. Thank you for having us. Look forward to working with all of you, Pam and I do in the future.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to request some remote control actually, so we can move ahead with our actual meeting here. So we're going to actually welcome everyone to the annual meeting. This is where we're going to start our official business. So I want to start by thanking the board of directors, the 2020 board. You guys have dealt with a lot this year, and it's been a challenge, but I think the association and with your leadership, we've really adapted well. And we've been able to carry out a lot of business this year. We've been able to do a lot of really great things for the members this year. And I really hope that, you know, moving forward into 2021, we can continue to do the same thing and provide even more benefits and opportunities for development here within the association. So I want to start by recognizing you guys and just thanking you for all of your hard work. It's been great getting to know you, and I know you'll continue to lead us ahead moving forward. So we just want to thank the volunteers as well. So let me see here. Okay, so here's our committee leadership. You know, these people are volunteers again, and without their volunteerism and their efforts, we really would not be able to do nearly as much as we do for the association. This association is led by realtors for realtors, and this is exactly how it's done, by getting involved and, you know, lending your voice, lending an hour or two each month to these committee meetings and letting us know what direction we need to head, what things you're interested in, what we can do to better serve you. And these people have really just stepped up and continue to be huge assets for the association. And I look forward to continuing to work with them into next year. All right, we have a 2021 dues reminder. So you should have received a dues billing via email. You can also log into the website, realestateinberks.com, to pay your invoices. Please make sure you do that before the end of January. All right, so we're gonna welcome you. Angela, I'd like you to go ahead and kick us off, call the meeting to order.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the business portion of the meeting to order. And Brittany, if you want to keep going with the slides, or John.
Yep.
All right. First, we don't have a ton of stuff today. Hopefully everybody can stay on. And so first, for the main business portion, the report of the nominating committee.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so for the nominating committee for president-elect, we have Marshall Lytle. And for the director positions, we had 3 open positions for the coming 2021 year. And the 3 that have been chosen: Jerry Amadio, Anthony Borelli, and Jason Burkholder.
Yes. Oh, wait, 1 second. John, can you go backwards actually? Okay, so I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the 2020 nominating committee report.
Motion to approve.
All right, we got a motion. That was Mark Moan.
I second.
Okay, and now I'm going to activate a poll. Everyone on this meeting, you will see a poll appear on your screen. If you can complete the poll by choosing approve or disapprove, we will get this motion dealt with. Launching now.
Okay, Brittany, how long are you keeping it open?
We'll give it maybe 10 more seconds.
Okay.
All right, let's close her down and poll. We have all that voted 100% in favor to approve. So thank you for participating in that poll, and we will be installing everyone for the 2021 leadership, the board of directors, Erica Ramus as the 2021 president, and all of the officers in January for the installation. So keep an eye on your emails for that date, and we will probably be doing that virtually as well. So we'll have some interesting things happening. So I'm going to move right along. Okay, so the year in review. With the pandemic, there's been some changes for sure, the way our committees meet. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but we've done some hybrid things. We've done a lot of our meetings via hybrid setup, where you can come into the office in the training room, you can participate on Zoom simultaneously, and it's worked out really well. We are continuing all of our meetings at this point via Zoom. With the uptick in cases, it's just safer for everyone that way. So some of the things that we will be doing next year, I'll kind of just give you a heads up, some new initiatives. I know it's been a priority for the board and for leadership to kind of look at educational opportunities, continuing education, continuing ed classes. We're kind of looking into some alternatives and maybe some solutions to bring more opportunities to the membership next year. We're working with Polly on that. And we will be doing a diversity committee, which I think is going to be great for the association. But we'll go into a little bit as to what we did here in 2020. So professional development, we did a lot of really great virtual sessions. We did a few while I was here in person. I know we did a lunch and learn here with PHFA in the training conference room about septic, their septic loan program. That was a really great presentation, and we'll definitely look to have them back in 2021. The YPN level up sessions, those have been really great. We have, done those virtually. We've done them hybrid. We've brought in a bunch of new people that really, we don't see too often. So it's bringing together a lot of really great members who ordinarily we might not see. So we've discussed a bunch of topics in those YPN level ups. Bright MLS classes are always great. We did an ABR designation. We've done 50 virtual or in-person classes over the course of 2020. I know we did a couple with PAR on COVID standard forms. We did one with the county on, safety and working safely in real estate. We did a virtual session with Lee Brown, which was the 3 W's of listing, that was awesome. Advertising 101 with Hank was really interesting. We're going to try and get that information from Hank's presentation and get it out to all of the brokers for future distribution to their agents as well. So all in all, professional development, very successful. I encourage anyone on this meeting, if you're interested or have ideas for, association-led professional development, reach out to Maylene, myself, or join the committee for 2021. We definitely are always looking for a solution or suggestions. Outreach, this committee has been one of my favorite to get to know and see what they do. The outreach activities that we've done this year have just been really inspiring, and I think it's just wonderful. I recently, over Thanksgiving, we served over 230 meals. We had leftovers, took the leftovers to Opportunity House. I know some was taken downtown to help, feed homeless or those in need in downtown Reading. Some of the other events that this committee has done, electronic recycling and shredding event. I think this year was one of the most popular years I think that we've ever had. You can see the numbers for yourself. So over 6,800 documents shredded, 1.5 trucks of electronics recycled. That event got huge this year, so that was great. 100 gifts donated to the Children's Home of Reading. You should see in our room in the back here, we have, I can't even, it's the stack of presents sitting, waiting to be picked up is just, it's great. I mean, it's going to make so many children, very, very happy and thankful this year. So we're happy to do that. So if you're interested next year in participating in any of these, reach out to the committee chair or Kathy Stoika. We will be opening up committee registrations online on the website. So you'll be getting more information coming in the next 2 weeks about that, if not sooner. But definitely, I would take advantage of it. It's great to get involved with our community or with our committees. So the last thing for outreach, we do have Realtor Ring Day tomorrow. We have one slot available at 3 p.m. If you are available and interested, it's going to be at the Fairgrounds Market, Fairgrounds Farmers Market. So we have that hour available. If you're free, please let us know and we'll sign you up. All right, Helping Harvest. We did a food drive this year. We got together a ton of donations from the offices that participated, and it looks like Iron Valley Real Estate, Berks County was the winner again. I believe they were the winner last year as well. So congratulations to them. But really, this was a huge effort by all of the offices that participated, and really, I can't thank you guys enough for all of the donations that you guys got together. It was really great. All right, so John, if you could kind of give us a brief advocacy, like 1,000-mile kind of look at everything for 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. A quick comment on that 700 raised for Habitat and NHS. That's per organization, by the way. So it was more like 1,400. I thought I would just clarify real quick. But yeah, this year, I don't have to say it, but it's been crazy. I know from the onset of the pandemic, way earlier this year in the initial shutdown, we had worked around the clock to give you guys the most up-to-date information on what the statewide orders are, which at some point changed every hour, what the best practices are, trying to make sure that you guys, your clients, were as unaffected as possible. Locally, I know that meant, making sure we are working with water authorities, with municipalities, with the recorder of deeds, making sure that the final meter readings are taking place. The municipalities are giving you whatever kind of permit they need to give you for you guys to, proceed with settlement, making sure the recorder of deeds office continues to operate. When it came time for a vote on House Bill 2412 to reopen our industry, our bar was the only association that was mentioned by name on the floor of the House debate in Harrisburg. I think our members sent 238 letters over a 4-day period to the governor, made many more phone calls than even that. We're at a higher rate of response than any other association of our size. So I was extremely proud at how our membership came together in responding to COVID, and it's still going. As recently as this morning, we've been making phone calls to local representatives, trying to help members deal with the insane backlog that we have with the State Real Estate Commission, people waiting sometimes up to 2 months to get reactivated. That's still going on. We still have members waiting. So we're still trying to navigate the pandemic. I'll try to breeze through the rest of these as quickly as possible. Economic development, we've been pushing for zoning changes, not only in the city of Reading, but we supported the adoption of that housing plan in Kutztown, trying to address vacancy there. We've, as David had mentioned, we've been kind of pushing the talks on housing affordability and supply, trying to take in, accommodate the new housing demand that's coming as a result of economic development. RPAC, we didn't have any local elections this year, but we did take part in interviewing candidates for state races, helped protect people who stood by our industry, both in state and federal races. At this point now, we have a few days left for RPAC fundraising, but at this point, we've raised more than $32,000 for RPAC. A lot of that's going to be split up to help local races come 2021. I do want to take the chance to recognize two individuals who have gone to the NAR RPAC Hall of Fame this year for a lifetime contribution milestone, which is Conrad Venino and Merlin Weaver, both making the NAR Hall of Fame this year for RPAC fundraising. Looking at fair housing, it's always been something that has been important to us. This year, we've had situations where we've had municipalities asking rental property owners and realtors to provide information on their client's familial status for move-in permits and what have you, and that gets into some dicey fair housing situations for realtors. So we've been dealing with that, and then again looking at municipal zoning around group homes, and then property rights. We had a UNO ordinance in Laureldale Borough that violated state law, got it fully repealed. We've had a proposed ban on short-term rentals in Exeter Township that we got defeated, and a proposed sewer lateral inspection in Cumru Township that we also shot down. So we're constantly on the watch for those, and we're going to continue to do so. I do also want to quickly recognize, as I'm closing out, the individuals that were major investors this year, and also our corporate investors. Both RBAR and Daryl Tillman Realty Group were corporate investors, but the people you see on the screen all were major contributors to our RPAC fundraising this year. And that's going to go towards making sure when it comes time to talk with elected officials about mixed use zoning or about trying to amend zoning with our development, making sure that we actually have people in office that are going to be willing to listen to that and willing to put in the effort to go through those zoning changes. So that's going to be something that we're working on as we go into the 2021 election season. It never ends. And that's all I have for you.
All right, thanks so much, John. That was awesome. We have two Realtor Emeritus individuals with us today. So we have Greg Geidish, who is on the board. Realtor Emeritus status is when you've been a member of NAR for 40 years, and they have reached, Donald Hutchinson and Greg Geidish have reached that milestone. So congratulations to both of you on that accomplishment. It's I imagine that you both have some pretty interesting experiences being a member of the association for that long. I believe you've probably seen some great transitions and transformations taking place, and I hope it's for the better. And I hope we can continue to have your input and involvement and expertise, included in anything that we do moving forward, because it's great experience to have, in terms of our leadership and where the association goes from this point on. So congratulations to both of you, and hopefully you're going to stick around for 40 more, and congratulations again. All right. So I just wanted to close out too by just, mentioning that, again, we will have some openings on our committees. President-elect Erica Ramus will be selecting her chair appointments for 2021. And I will be connecting with all of those appointees later this month. But if you're interested in joining a committee or serving or getting involved in the association in any way, I do welcome all input and involvement and your feedback. If we do surveys, your feedback is super important to us. Angela, is there anything you would like to say to the members to close out?
Yes, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to the board of directors. Thank you to the committees and most of all the staff. Brittany, John, Maylene, Kathy, you guys always give 110%. So hopefully the members, especially this year, see how involved and how much you guys do. And it definitely was a tough year, but we were just about through it. So, and also congratulations again to the nominees for next year, and look forward to 2021. And many of you might not know Erica, but Erica is going to be the president next year, and she has so much knowledge and has devoted so much time to PAR. And so you're going to find that she's just as great as all the past presidents have been. And so I look forward to having a really good 2021. And hopefully you guys will start getting involved if you're not already, either on a committee or even locally. I find that us being involved in the community really is a huge benefit and reaps the rewards that we all want, and just continues to show how much realtors really do help the community and try to just help us grow. So, but thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thank you guys so much. Happy holidays and enjoy your day.
Yeah, happy holidays. Bye everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.